Good morning, everyone. I'm Pat Coutier, and this is my story. 3 weeks ago, I was on my way out of the 8:30 service, and I was approached by Jennifer Marshall, and she asked me if I would be interested in speaking. She told me that the stewardship committee thought that since we were studying the story, that it might be interesting to hear some of the stories about the parishioners and their way to God. And I thought to myself, I told her, I said, you know what, let me think about this. I'm not exactly a public speaker. It's not my strongest suit. Let me get back to you. So I went home and I thought, this is ridiculous. First place, when someone from the church asks you to do something, you don't say no. And secondly, actually you have a pretty good story to tell. So I called her back and I told her, okay, I'll do it. I was raised an Episcopalian, and at probably age 40 I started wandering away from my faith. I have always considered myself a religious person, and I pray a lot, and that's well and good, but I didn't have focus and I didn't have guidance. So in October of 2010, a very, very dear friend of mine passed away. She was a member of this parish, as a matter of fact. And I don't usually go to memorial services, but I thought, you know what, you owe it to her, and I respected her so much, so I came. So on November 7th, I got in my car and scouted around and found Christ Presbyterian Church, and I'm embarrassed to say I'd driven by it a dozen times and never even noticed it before. Now that's awful. Anyway, I went through the big wooden door and hear this band blasting away, and I thought, my God, I'm in the wrong place, surely. But I was greeted and given a program and escorted into the service. And then I saw it was Government Cheese, her favorite band, so I knew I was in the right place. But I was amazed that the place was packed. It was standing room only. It really was. So I found a place near the wall. And by this time, Pastor Steve had come in. And from the minute he called us to worship to when he sang the Irish prayer in an opera-like voice, I tell you, something came over me. I have never felt this way in my life. And I thought to myself, this man is truly a messenger. So after the service, we went over to the multi-purpose room for the reception, and I trailed along behind, and I caught up with him to tell him how impressed I was with the service and how I liked what he had to say. And I mentioned I was an Episcopalian, but I can see that could change. And he said, it's okay, we like Episcopalians too. And I thought, you're so cute. Anyway, after that, the following Sunday, I went to church, and I've been going there ever since. I absolutely love it. And I hadn't missed a day in a year until my lungs started failing, and then I started becoming sick more often, and it was kind of a bummer. Anyway, what I probably like best about the Christ Presbyterian is that I never ever considered that religion could be fun, it could be relaxing, and it could be casual. I mean, seriously, drinking coffee during a church service, who knew? I'll tell you, one of the funniest things I remember was a Sunday when Pastor Steve, we had an assignment, and he had told us that we were going to write about the 23rd Psalm. So he gave us, the Lord is my shepherd, and you finish it. So each table, it was a team deal, so we all built our stories and presented them. And they were pretty amazing, the information and the interpretations. But listen, there was a group of guys at one table, all men, and they actually incorporated that into a football game. And it was a riot, and I wish to Pete I had a copy of that. It was so amusing. And that's my point, that you can find humor in religion and enjoy it and the light side of it, along with the dark. And we need that, but still it's fun and it's easier to learn when you have situations like this. And that's one of the things I like absolutely the best. But probably most important is that I've never gone to a service where I didn't hear exactly what I needed to hear and could take it with me, and I always leave feeling refreshed and peaceful. Furthermore, it wasn't until I underwent double lung transplant did I ever really have any understanding of the true power of prayer. and to actually witness firsthand a miracle. That was very, very uplifting for me. And then we talk about God and in God's time and when it's time and what have you. Well, I can attest to that because I was only on the transplant list 6 days. Other people wait months, sometimes years. So it was just a humbling experience for me, not to mention a gift from God and a do-over. It was my do-over. And I just feel so blessed. And listen, part of the best thing of all is to look up and see Steve Meldy standing in the ICU in Phoenix on your second day post-op. I was so amazed. It's a good thing I was in ICU because I thought I'd have a heart attack. It was just truly awesome, and I loved it. I just couldn't believe he came to see me. It was so cool. Well, I could go on, but I'm sure you get the picture. And in closing, I would really like to take this opportunity to thank everybody in this parish that supported me, sent flowers, sent cards, sent thoughts, sent prayers to see me through this unimaginable journey. I'm so grateful to all of you, and I thank you so much. And I'd like to offer hugs to Debbie Anderson and Juanita Garcia, and a special thanks to Pastor Steve Meldy and Steve Brownson for helping me continue with my journey in this fabulous church. And I am and will remain a faithful, humble servant. Thank you very much.